All right. Thank you, number one. Though with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, I'll just do the power thing. It's cool. I don't need the responsibility.
We'll see how that goes. Uh, welcome everybody to our special July 4th session, where we hammer home the themes of. Oh, just kidding. Never
Mm.
mind. Not any sort of special July 4th anything. Uh,
I
not that
mean,
I
if it
have, but
sounds like
anyway.
there's gunshots outside my window, know that it still could be gunshots, but it's most likely fireworks.
Yeah, same.
uh, not likely gunshots. Not around here. Oh, but anyway.
I'll just put my gun up, actually.
Nice.
Well, you rolled stabs. Maybe you should put your knife up.
It's a knife gun, okay?
No, not one of those.
I learned in anime that those are the deadliest weapons.
Customs and Border Patrol always want to take that from you.
All right, so to start, uh, we have a bit of a time skip here. We're doing 1 week of downtime while you allow Martin Alder's tech crew to poke around the pre-tech spike drive on your ship, take whatever readings and measurements they can, and try to learn something. And during that time, we had a few different things that the crew wanted to get up to. The simplest were Brother Nick and Java working on modding some of the crew's personal equipment. Now, we only got a single bid for putting boosted on Nero's monoblade, or one of them.
Mhm.
Now, that'll leave Brother Nick and Java with a little bit of time in the day. That's basically just like full time working. If they wanted to just really go whole hog on it, they could squeeze out another couple things. But uh, I guess final chance. Are we doing any other mods taking up all their time? Okay, that sounds like a no.
Yeah, I don't want to propose anything else from Nero because I think it would be nice if they weren't spending, you know, 80 hours a day, 5 days over there.
Yeah, I got you.
And I think that gives me some time to do my connected stuff. Then, if there's
Hmm. Yeah.
time not spent in the workshop.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would make sense.
Oh my gosh. So does that mean my monoblade is modded now?
Let's see.
Can I
As soon
change
as
it?
you
Your
cough
dreams
up,
come true, Ben.
let's see. Only sometimes, and only if you work really hard and make me happy. Let me check real quick here. Okay, only if Nero coughs up 1,000 credits.
Done.
All
Does
right,
anybody have something that reduces that cost, or is that including the reduction?
that's counting the reduction.
Okay, good.
That is thanks to Java's vast experience tinkering and jerry-rigging things. Don't need quite as many parts. Can do with cheaper. So
Fantastic.
on and so forth. All right, so that stuff can go off without a hitch. No skill checks required there. That just happens. We also have some activity for the other characters. We have Nero inquiring after her homeworld, Phyllis, which is currently subjugated under the rule of Harvario. I guess for the rest of the group's context, in case they didn't know or remember, basically, some number of years in the past, uh, Harvario, a relatively small but highly advanced planet in the same system as Phyllis, a low-tech but fertile planet. Uh, yeah, Harvario decided to expand, take over, so that they could just feed themselves without having to pay for it. Uh, and so Nera was a resistance fighter for a brief time on Phyllis before her escape. So she's asking around, trying to do so carefully, avoiding Representative Knut for Harvario, and just contact some of the other administrators and so on, who she might be able to get a little information out of. And so I asked Dex for a couple of skill checks for her. Um, both skill checks failed.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there.
So the yeah, I'd actually anyway.
Hold on, I need to go check on the kids. They're like yelling. One
Oh,
second.
are they yelling?
Yeah.
I don't have the oh, I don't have the monitor turned on. I should do that real quick. All right. Anywho, so Narrow does her thing. I don't know how long we want to spend or go into detail on this. Um, I guess I'll start with a high-level summary, and if you have questions or comments, we can expound on it.
Okay.
Basically, Narrow is able to get some. She's able to corner a couple different of the Harvarian staffers that accompany Knut onto the station. Get them away from him, and tries to strike a balance between asking questions about Phyllis and ask after sending a message to her family without revealing too much. uh, their their attitude or their demeanor is somewhat guarded, and even over the course of a couple different days, Nero is not able to get very much information specifically out of them, other than that the rebellion on Phyllis has settled down. There's no active fighting right now on the planet. Wow, yeah, we got some biggins out here. I think they're triggering my mic. Can
Yeah,
you
they
guys hear
actually
that?
are.
Okay. Yeah, they're like, there's some probably in the neighborhood and then also some in the next one over. So you'll just have to bear with me on that. But then just asking after the overall situation, what she gets from these two is that things on Phyllis are great. The transition from their old school methods of farming to using the equipment that Harvario was able to provide has gone pretty well. Uh, it's not 100% yet, but the vast majority have adopted the new techniques, and things are trucking along. Oh, also give me a notice check from Nero.
Yeah, let's get all the bad rolls out of the way first off.
That's not a bad roll. It's the baseline success.
Yeah, it's a 5 on the dice.
Mm-hmm.
Only
Yeah.
decent because she's good at noticing.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yep.
So Nero, on the last day that she spends trying to get this information, she picks up on a on an attitude of suspicion from the one she's talking to, and decides it's time to cut her losses and avoid avoid that subject with any of the Harvarians for the time being.
If I may add in there, just for future drama,
Mm-hmm.
I think that having kind of exhausted herself mentally on trying to be social and uh, get information, without punching it out of somebody. Um, she is tired after this, and just kind of when she's done, when she gives up, she inadvertently outs herself by saying something like, "There was nothing wrong with the way we used to farm," as she's walking away.
Yeah, that's pretty fitting. I actually appreciate putting that fine a point on it. That that was essentially what I was taking away from that 3 on Connect.
Yep,
Um,
follow the dice.
and the low sneak, those went together to tell me that she ended up giving herself away in
Hmm.
some way. And she's perceptive enough to realize that she did it. Unfortunately, not before she did it, but after. Um, so she knows that she needs to be careful around them, and I think that covers the first half of her time. The rest of her week, she, I suppose, more or less secludes herself, other than trying to find any and every way to let out some steam on the ship or the station. Though she avoids diligently the area where the Harvarian delegation stays.
Yeah. They wouldn't happen to have like a designated running hallway, would they, on a station like this?
They do not.
Okay.
That's what treadmills are for. um, at least that's the way they think.
Of course.
Um, so yeah, but she's able to find, she's able to run some of the halls, although gets some, she'd get some
Nah,
stern looks from guards and
nah.
passersby.
If it's not acceptable, she's not going to draw even more attention to herself like that.
Okay.
She'll maintain social acceptability. It's perfectly fine to jog along city streets unless there's laws against it, just because
Hmm.
that's somebody going out for a jog. But it feels weird indoors, and space stations are technically all indoors.
Hmm. Yeah, and I imagine she might feel, as usual, a bit out of her comfort zone.
Oh yeah,
S- Space station is really just a larger ship as far as she's concerned.
yeah. She's feeling cooped up and antsy.
Okay. That covers Narrow, I believe. I should ask Avery, what would Java be up to in his spare time since, as it turns out, he and Brother Nick are not spending every waking hour in the workshop? What would he be doing with the remainder of his time?
He would probably be looking for anything that he can find uh, around the ship, in the ship. I guess since we're docked at the station, or are
Mhm.
we in a bay where we could actually, I guess, work on the exterior of the ship?
You're not in a bay, but there are vac suits available for use and tools. Uh, so it would not be unusual to, strap on an umbilical and go poke around on the outside of the ship.
I think, given the talking that he was received in the last session, he's probably looking for opportunities to earn his keep and maybe working on anything that he can find that may be in disrepair on the ship.
Okay.
It could be generally just minor things, but
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so he can absolutely do that. Let me see here. This might actually be a good time for me to remind you guys that the Prudence is down just a couple of hit points. Those were not lost while you guys have run the ship. Uh,
I'm
but
assuming though, and I don't know if that's fair or not, that like Nick's had this responsibility up until this point. Would he have allowed Java to kind of step in and do things like that without his direct supervision?
Oh, yeah.
okay. So yeah, Java gets his blessing before going just jumping in and doing it. Let's see. I was gonna check. I don't recall off the top of my head. I'm looking it up here. Uh, the deal for repairing uh, ship hit points. That can pretty much be done. Typically, you pay to have that done. It's not a lot. It's 1,000 credits per point. Uh, being down 3 points, you'd spend 3,000 to have it freshened up by the station's maintenance crew. Uh, if you guys wanted to, eh, well, in this situation, it probably doesn't make sense to go and try to find spare parts and then do it yourselves. You don't necessarily have that kind of time anyway, and provisioning is tight out here. So just throw that out there. But yeah, Java could also be doing miscellaneous maintenance and such. Let's see. Oh. Hmm. Thanks, Dex. I overlooked that.
Oh yeah, that doesn't need to be brought up right now.
Yeah, that's a minor side thing. All right. Yeah, I guess since it came up, I guess since I brought it up because of what Avery said, do you guys want to go ahead and spend 3,000 from the ship's stores to top her off as far as
We
repairs
should.
go?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. All right, and so moving on. That covers Java. Brother Nick is doing the modding and also making connections on the station, trying to build up a web as best he can for his feature, his focus, I should say. And Cade spending his time digging in and brushing up on some of the laws of the various CIS member states, as well as their charter, their joint charter, to determine what they have on the books when it comes to defense, uh, offense, I guess, any sort of policing against other sovereign powers, and also just their history regarding those points. And what he would find on all of those is that, first of all, CIS is very new, like a month or so new.
Okay.
And
We could
so
go
there's,
back into the members' history if we had to. Yeah.
okay. And so as far as the joint charter goes, good grief. Okay, well, sorry. I'm just gonna try to tune that out. Uh,
Good
now,
luck.
yeah.
They're here all night.
The member states are all required, in case of military action against any one of them, they're all required to come to each other's aid with no less than 50% of their available military power. and that's left.
Interesting.
There are some minutia about determining that, calculating, but that's the bottom line of it. And the charter also prohibits any sort of unilateral military or commercial action by any one of the member states. And any sort of joint action requires unanimous assent. And
Interesting.
as far as any sort of limitations or terms on what that action could be, it's left to be decided on a case by case basis. And going back into history, uh, you would find that Loinuda is essentially isolationist. They aren't known to have ever intervened in any other armed conflict, or to have initiated any other than just they've only been known to defend themselves. And their military power is considered relatively minor.
They do come across as the lesser member of the group.
And it's also notable that there's actually very little record of anyone even initiating military action against them either. So,
Yeah.
as far as Anagris goes, um, they have a track record of intervening economically, opposing trade sanctions, and also providing aid to powers in need. They have very rarely joined with other states in defense of their own territories, but always in a minor and supporting role.
That was Anagris, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And as for Harvario, they have uh, they have no track record of intervening on any other state's behalf. Uh, there are quite a number of incidents over decades. In fact, some going back even a century, that were minor raids or other such incidents that didn't constitute the definition of a war or active war at the time that were either officially or unofficially traced back to them.
Hmm. Okay.
And then, of course, there's the known recent past that they invaded and took over Phyllis, their sister planet in the same system. Though, as far as the impartial observers could determine, uh, there were no egregious war crimes against humanity committed in the process of that takeover. Though there are definitely some accounts that allege some blurring of lines between civilians and insurgents, as tends to happen in those kinds of conflicts.
Sounds to me like Havario is the definition of space Vikings. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely share some similarities there.
I always picture Newt as wearing a helmet with horns, regardless of how historically inaccurate that is.
Yeah, he's sitting there in a three-piece suit with a fur cloak and his horned helmet, dirt and stuff smeared on his face and a bloody gash. The dented axe laid out on the table.
Oh man, that the axe might actually make Nero respect him.
Yeah, she hasn't seen him with any weapons so far. But I don't remember if I feel like I spelled this out at one point that um, she got a sense that he carried himself like someone who knew how to handle a weapon.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, he did.
okay, I did. Okay, good.
That's why he does so well in her imaginary fights against him. He still loses every time.
Of course. I mean, what else would you expect? Can't go giving the guy a break.
No,
Uh,
doesn't deserve one.
yeah. So that covers the first half of Kate's week. And the second half is spent looking into the bit of info that the party has acquired about Taiwan, its history, which Taiwan being one of the systems currently under Tabukan control, which also goes by the name Ardiedso. There's some history there that uh, doesn't necessarily bear going into at the moment, but the bottom line is he's spending his time going over the accounts that crew was able to put together of what happened on Taiwan, some of which were from various people on Tabuk, some of whom were former inhabitants of Taiwan, though the majority of the people you were able to get in touch with about that were Tabukans. And the reason he's going through this is to compare to any information he can dig up in the databases or archives or whatever of CIS or any of its member states, just looking for any sort of clue that they might have something about that. Now, let's see. I believe I overlooked. I was going to need a reroll on the connect check for Cade.
Okay. That was a decent roll on it, so that'll be hard to be better. So we'll see how it goes. I actually have a 0 in connect.
Oh yeah.
Exactly the same.
hmm So Cade asks around a bit, manages to find someone in Anagran who knows a little bit about various exploratory efforts. Um, also does some digging, of course, on the the data storage systems that they have available for that you're allowed to use. Um, and unfortunately, your searches on that front turn up empty. Nothing in any of their databases to indicate that they know anything about Taiwan.
That's a bummer.
Let's see. So I believe that'll cover him. Did he have? Was there anything I overlooked as far as the angles he was looking to investigate?
Nope, that sounds pretty complete to me.
Okay. deal. Then, Saoirse,
Hi, I just got back. So
hello, welcome back. Um,
the kids were kind of freaking out about the
oh yeah, the fireworks.
fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they've been distracting me and throwing off my groove, man.
Yeah, that's it. Blame the kids. That's why
What?
we
No,
have
no,
them.
I think you meant the
the
fireworks.
Oh, okay.
fireworks.
All right, gotcha. Fireworks. That's fair.
Ugh, kids, man, throwing off my groove. What are you gonna do though? So let me get a lead wisdom check from Saoirse.
A lead or wisdom check, or a lead wisdom check. Okay, got it. I'm also gonna stop watching Irish people try videos.
Your plan.
Apologies, but I got talking to Dex before the session about doing a Kiwi accent.
Uh-huh. See how quickly she throws me under the bus.
So I had to binge watch Irish people.
Mm,
Oh shoot, I should have asked if there was any modifier, but I don't think there was. You would have told me.
no, there was not.
That's a lead wisdom check. Barely
Okay.
squeaking above average.
It's all right. Okay, so by the way, I think let's see. I don't know how much of that list you wanted me to publicize. Is there anything I should ask? Is there anything you wouldn't want listed?
Nah, it's fine. Can
Okay.
publicize all of it.
All right. So let me just plop all this over here.
Oh man, can I
Because
tell you guys a small vignette about how Hannah was being creepy a second ago though? She was
Go for
like,
it.
"Mom, do you remember that song about the crooked man who got a crooked cat for the crooked mouse in his crooked house?" And I was like, "What? No." And then she's like, "Yeah, it's a song." Uh, and she was like, "Don't you remember how it goes?" I was like, "I've never heard this in my life." And then she was like, "Yeah." And then she starts trying to make it up. And then she's like, "Wait, how does it go?" She's just singing about a crooked man in a crooked house. And it's like, I really don't like this song anymore.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
She has an extremely imaginative mind, and I love it.
All the better to roleplay. You know, in a few
Yeah.
years.
All right. So, for Saoirse, her week consists of waking up quote unquote early before 10 in the morning, having her coffee truce with Cade, doing a routine checking on all the crew and the various passengers, retreating to her quarters for business she needs to attend to. Out of character, we we know that this involves crocheting hats and scarves as well as working on perfecting her compact hamster wheel design for Nero. Then she'll also spend time talking with the various VIPs, Tom Alder. I'm going to assume throwing in there Victor and Boris, Ahmed, and then she's also going to take at some point some time to talk to Nero, which I believe will take a little bit of in character time for. If you guys are, I was getting the impression that's what you were angling for. Um, but as far as her stuff, everything pretty much goes smoothly. She has a relatively chill week, low stakes as far as recent history has gone. And her chats with various NPC crew members that you've all acquired go well. She feels like she is building good rapport with all of them. Martinius and Caldwell. Let me add those to the list. And I will say, during this week, Boris spends his time hiding out on the ship. In fact, a couple days in, the Rollins, Caldwell and Martinius included, bid you all farewell, and they go to take on this loaner ship from the Anagrans, and but of course Boris has to stay behind. Let's see. Yeah, so although they all leave, Boris stays behind, and he pretty much sequesters himself on the ship. He would let Saoirse know that the reason he's doing that is that he was cornered at one point by a couple of the Loinuda staffers, and
Enter.
was questioned about the about his oh, what's the right term? Overdue
Oh.
payment status.
Their car's extended warranty.
Oh no.
Boris is severely behind on ship loan payments, and he doesn't have to tell Saoirse this, but he goes ahead and reminds her anyway that the Brixar, which is currently presumably still sitting in a Uralin starport in the capital, is technically his, and he owes some Exchange of Light members on Loy Nuda a considerable amount of money for it.
Yikes.
Almost entirely the value of the ship. And he's not sure about their, I guess, the insurance situation, what it takes to successfully file a claim of some sort and get the loss covered. Doesn't know what the payout would be, but he is dreading having that conversation. He'd remind Saoirse that he's not from anywhere around here anyway, and doesn't care to be involved in their legal system either. So he'd rather just hide and hope that it goes away.
Yikes.
Fortunately, no major or impactful developments with any of the other people she's checking up on throughout the week. And that pretty much takes care of that. I should interject to ask, is there anything that anyone would have wanted to do or say before the Rollins leave? I don't want to just yoink them out of the picture without giving you guys the chance to cover anything.
Did we ever decide if we were building some sort of outpost? I know we've sort of side discussed that, and Ethan referenced the possibility of using it as a place for Boris and some of the Rollins to live.
Hmm.
But I don't know if there's any been further development of that.
Don't. I hadn't seen any more discussion of that.
Yeah, I was just rereading if we had.
So yeah, we could.
Yeah,
You guys,
I don't see anything extra.
do you guys want to go ahead and do a little bit of discussion about that, or would we like to shelve that?
I mean, I think it's worth some quick discussion, but hopefully not too long. I think I would have more questions for you, the GM, than anything that we would plan to do about the base. Because, well, my questions are more along the lines of, hey Ben, how do you think you would handle it? Do you want to use the outpost book? Are you just gonna fly by the seat of your pants? Because
Yeah,
I mean, how
fair.
you go forward with it makes a big impact on how much some of us can get into it.
Oh yeah, because you don't all have the book.
I
Um,
do.
It's not so much the book; it's the actual
Sire?
the granularity of it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'd say, I mean, the the core book, I mean, it has well, the main thing it has built into it is, you can build a station, uh, which pretty much uses the same rules as building a starship and doesn't have to be super complicated. Um, Frankly, I've read over a bit the Distant Lights rules. I haven't scoured them thoroughly yet, but at a glance, it seems like you can get as you can get as deep into it as or not as you want. If you just want, a few walls and a power source to keep a little hidey hole running, you can throw relatively few credits at it and it can do its job. If you want, you know,
That's nice.
a if you want a facility housing a few hundred people, you know, doing some sort of industry and protecting themselves and so on and so forth, it's self-sufficient, um, it can get pretty involved.
I think you're
I mean,
already kind of answering the question that I have without answering it. Um, I'll put my opinion out there. I don't want to deal with any of the granularity of it. However, I'm happy to sit back and enjoy the roleplay aspects that basically form the framework around which that granularity, the credits, the different rooms are created.
okay.
So
So as long as somebody else is handling the number crunching and the, referencing the book, you're fine with it being done.
yeah, and as long as it doesn't take too much time in session, and that sounds really selfish to say because I know I take up a lot of roleplay time, but I basically I'd want to avoid like us having a whole session that is essentially just planning out an outpost.
Yeah, you don't want this to be Colony Simulator Stars of That Number edition.
Yeah, that's not gonna entertain me all that much.
Hmm.
Well, I hear that. So I'll definitely do what I can to keep any discussions of that sort of stuff, the logistics and details to a minimum. Um, I guess I will say I'd prefer it if you guys do have some very detailed or specific needs or wants for an outpost of some kind. Uh, I already like what I've seen of the Distant Lights book, so I'd like to
Mhm.
use that. Um, unless it's just if you guys want something that's pretty simple, you don't really care about all the new minutia, um, then I'd be okay with you guys just kind of giving me a list of desires, and I can slap a credit price on it, and we can call it a day. Um,
I'm totally okay with you and Ethan going over the specifics. I think it would be a great idea, an interesting roleplay opportunity for us to have our own actual base of operations.
yeah, sounds good. Well then, what we'll do is for the moment we'll put that on the back burner. We will probably end up making that a between sessions homework for me and Ethan to have a little sidebar uh, brainstorming session or designing session and build that. What we'll need to do is get the group to agree on at least like a loose set of goals or priorities in order, and
Mhm.
then also put some sort of budget on it because um, if you if you looked at the the one that Ethan already kind of the rough draft that he proposed as a starting point, you can get very pricey, and I imagine you guys don't want to spend all your current funds on this sort of thing. So
We also haven't gotten paid in some time, or at
yeah,
least not frequently. So we'll have to start. If you want to build this, Ethan, we also need to start considering revenue streams,
Mhm.
or
yeah,
maybe not
and
streams, but income of some sort. Sorry, Ben.
yeah, no, you're fine. And that's a very good point. And high level, basically, there are ways that you can set up some industry to be done with your outpost. If you put your outpost in the right spot where there are natural resources or whatever, you can spend money and such on acquiring the facilities and the personnel to do something like that.
What
Now, I don't
if
know that.
what
Oh,
if
go
we
ahead.
mine radiation? Sorry, couldn't resist.
Oh my.
um, there are plenty of places with radioactive materials and very valuable resources like that that
Mhm.
could provide all sorts of fun potential consequences or side effects. Anyway, so yeah, that I guess if you guys want, go ahead and be thinking in the back of your minds what you want about that. We'll maybe come back to that before the end of the session. Um, but I think that's not necessarily something we have to address right this second. Um, all right. So I believe we've covered, let's see, out of character planning. Covered everyone's week of downtime. The Yeah, or Robert asked about the outpost. Was there any other points of order relating to the Uralans before they bug out?
Where are they bugging out to again? One more time.
So they're going to Anagris. There's a place that the Anagrians have set aside. They can uh, basically take up refuge there and continue to they can continue to have their negotiations and discussions with CIS Council and also some directly with the Anagrians, but
Okay.
their retinue can have a place to stay.
Guess just would speak with General Caldwell one last time and ask if there's anything specifically he'd like us to do if we return to Urala.
Yeah, so he asks that you would volunteer to deliver the first batch of supplies that the Anagrians are setting aside uh, to go aid the defense efforts on Urala, and to give his troops a message, just a brief one of encouragement that he's recorded himself, and he would hand it off to you.
Okay. Think I would be up for that. Can't see any reason why I would say no.
Okay. All right. And the one other thing that would develop within that week is that uh, let me check my notes here briefly and make sure I don't mess this up. Brother Nick receives a response from his contact in the church. Abbot Ranjiro sends him a message saying that he is on his way to the station and looks forward to seeing Brother Nick again. It's been some time. It's been too long, in his words. So, let's see. Welcome back, Avery.
Glad to be back.
Everything good there?
We think so.
Okay. Good. What a day.
4th of July.
Yeah.
Sorry, not
no.
laughing about that.
What
I'm laughing
happened?
about Ethan posted.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
That's a
very
bad timing.
unfortunate. I was wondering,
Oh my word.
it's like Ethan posting that. I was like, I'm guessing he's not talking about what Avery said, but
Oh man.
Toad scream.
Pretty related.
Guys, I'm
Um,
so sorry. My toddler is calling for me again.
yeah, she is. Do you want me to deal with this?
About the crooked man.
She might be scared because it
Okay.
sounds like the fireworks are right outside our window, but you can't
Yeah.
see anything.
That's fair.
So you're more important, honestly, to the playing of this game than I am. I can be filled in later. You're running it. So,
Right. Okay, go
alrighty.
ahead.
I'll be back later.
All right. Let's see here. So, let's see, Avery, basically we just got done going through everybody's 1 week of downtime. The highlights are some information. I think they got added to player notes. Yeah, that Cade was able to discover about CIS member state laws and such. Also, you were here for Narrow's bit about looking after her homeworld?
Yeah.
Oh.
I kind of stepped away from that
Oh, sorry.
around that time.
Okay. Yeah, I had missed your message initially, so I didn't know exactly when.
I messaged like a little bit after I actually left, but
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, basically she wasn't able to find out a lot other than that it seems like, at least according to the Harvardians, her homeworld is doing fine. They've been integrating well. The fighting has died down, and things are looking up for them. But she wasn't able to find out any information specifically about her family. And she realizes that she gave herself away as being connected to Phyllis more directly than she wanted to reveal. So she left off on that. I should actually clarify, Dex. You had asked about sending a message. Uh,
Um, yeah. I mean, is that something that could be done just, without their help, just in general?
so yeah, you think it's possible. You're not sure how locked down things are on Phyllis. You know that at least initially, it was everything was pretty well, uh, under lock and key.
Okay.
But
I
she thinks that she could at least send at least a vaguely worded message that doesn't uh, reveal anything personal, except for addressing specifically named people, and hope that if it can get there some way, she can leave basically a place to return the message to that she could check when she gets back.
I think she'll put a pin in that. After um outing like that she's from Phyllis, she would
Hmm.
be suspicious of sending anything there. The possibility that any outgoing mail might get checked for recipients. Any outgoing mail from
Hmm.
her might get checked for the recipient, and have a chance of connecting her with that family. So she's gonna hold off
Yeah,
for
I
now.
got you. Doesn't want to risk exposing anyone.
hmm Especially since, I mean, notwithstanding her past actions, uh, things that she's doing now, she could put somebody in jeopardy.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Uh, let's see. And then we also had Saoirse pretty much doing run-of-the-mill daily routine kinds of things, checking in on everybody, making sure everything's running smoothly, and also trying to develop some rapport with the various NPCs that you all know, both the ones that are with you and the ones that are on the station. And she discovered that Boris is being pursued for uh, very overdue loan payments on the Starship, which once upon a time his name was put on the lease for, and the crew managed to get taken away from them on Urala. So he's trying to hide out and avoid running into any of those from Loy Nuda. It's their division of the Exchange of Light that is after him for the money.
That's Boris, correct?
Yes, that's Boris. And because and he was actually denied asylum on Anagras. Um, may not have specified this or clarified this last session, but he would have revealed this to Saoirse that it was for that reason. Basically, he's nobody who's currently in any sort of legal trouble with one of the CIS member states can go accepting or go seeking asylum on any of their territory. Reminds me, I think I overlooked that point in informing Cade. Yeah, I don't think I did not cover asylum. That's the main rule when it comes to that. The member states themselves are allowed to enact whatever policies they'd like as far as immigration or asylum.
Okay, so there's no CIS wide asylum then. Only the status granted by one of its members.
Correct. And 'cause
Interesting.
they don't have any joint territory,
Yeah.
though the Anagrians have the station that's been set up is the closest they've come to having any sort of jointly owned or managed territory. Um, but yeah, so asylum and such is still handled individually, with that one restriction being basically so that they don't, step on each other's toes. And as I'd mentioned in the past, CIS members have kind of a preferred, kind of a fast track allowance for uh, people immigrating between the member states.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got, let's see, was, there was a little bit of conversation between Nero and Saoirse. Dex, were you hoping to have that in character?
We can once Saoirse's back. There's also a very, very tiny bit between Nero and Brother Nick.
Okay.
If Ethan is up for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let me
Yeah, you can
turn
go
you up
ahead
a
with
little
that.
bit. You're kind of quiet there, Ethan.
Ooh. Yeah, you guys can go ahead and
Okay.
take the wheel for that if you want.
So Ben, I will ask first of all. Actually, I guess Ethan should ask. Nero, at some point while Brother Nick and Avery, Avery, Java. I'm sorry, Avery. Avery just seems like such a roleplay character name. So
We'll make it confusing, and I'll introduce later.
So Nero tracks down where the two of them are working and asks if they can make a. She describes it as a microphone that's small and just always on.
Ooh, a bug.
Oh yeah, I mean she does have that sneak knowledge. So yeah, she basically describes she asks if they can make a bug that only they would have um that only they would be able to listen to.
I mean,
Or-
Java's down to help, and if your explanation is good, he might even figure it out.
I don't think her explanation will be good. It's going to be limited to. I mean, she knows about these technologically because of it's one of the things that she's expected to do when sweeping a room for security. But she doesn't know the actual what goes into them. She just knows that it's a bug, uh, and wants to make sure that only we have the frequency to it. So she's basically asking for a secured encrypted bug. Robert.
What? Okay, I just have to ask, what happened to the face? Because isn't that the same expression she already made in the original?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some weird data moshing or something going on.
See, I don't know what they were trying to do, but maybe they're trying to make it look more like somebody they knew.
I think the reface is at the very beginning because there's this jittering something going on.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
definitely. I mean, even the end, it looks different from the original, but it's definitely
Oh,
subtle.
this is a GIF of a girl that somebody put a different girl's face over. Is that what I'm seeing?
Oh,
Yeah,
is
but
that what that is?
Yeah, but it's like very similar. Like the difference is very minor.
The
I don't.
preview didn't even look like that.
Uh,
Yeah, that's so strange. Okay, here for reference.
oh yeah, no, that's very different.
Oh wow, yeah, that's very different.
I mean, okay, it's like yeah, there are obvious changes to the proportions, but I mean, it's like
Anyway, we're off on a tangent.
it's
We
silly.
are.
Okay,
We are
sorry.
totally lost, man.
I blame you, Kate. I mean, Robert.
Hey,
I mean, Kate was the one thinking
I
about the
clicked the
bugs.
wrong one of two that looked the same.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, sorry.
So is that something that Brother Nick, well, is it something that Java would be able to make himself, or that Brother Nick would understand well enough that the two of them could make without, actually costing them their free time during the week?
I would
Oh,
say that uh, that's definitely within their the scope of their abilities if they agree, basically.
Okay.
okay. Yeah, I guess he or Brother Nick would agree. But I kind of want to know why.
Java, no questions. Only try.
So, does Nero explain herself?
I don't think she does. I think she looks a little bit shifty, and just not too much because her expression doesn't change too much, and just says, "I just need one. Can you make it?"
Yeah, I will agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then we can jump to where Brother Nick and or Java, saying the right name, uh give her the completed product.
Do we need to do any rolls for it, Ben, or is this just a time thing?
Let's see. Now, she did mention encrypted. Um, so
That would be recruiting Kate.
yeah. I was gonna say, go ahead and let's see. Does either of you have the program skill at all? Either Brother Nick or Java?
I don't think I have any.
Okay.
-1.
Okay. Yeah.
Y'all should ask
So
Cade
Yeah, negative
for help.
Time to ask Cade.
yeah, that would definitely be something that they'd want to rope him in on. Because the mechanical part of it would be simple enough, no check required. As far as the other, have Cade give me a program check, just a regular
I
one. Okay. Yeah, Cade is confident that he can fiddle around a little bit, get a little bit of uh, little bit of software on there that will handle making sure that it encrypts its little signal. Not going to be military grade or anything, but he suspects it should do the trick.
Yeah. I changed the description on the Rainbow Blade just slightly to make the name make more sense. Um, so who's delivering it to her?
Hmm.
I'll do it if nobody else wants to.
I mean, sure, Cade will like hand it back to Java once he's done programming it. Say, I could make it military grade if I had a month, but this should do the trick.
Okay, he'll take it and return it to Nero, and because he's probably only paying as much attention as he needs to, say something to the effect of like, I think it's military grade. I don't know, Cade. Cade did some stuff. We couldn't get the whole encryption part down, but it works.
Good. Okay. Is it Ben? Would you say that it's in some kind of case that should reasonably or covering that should reasonably protect it from harm if it's just kind of left out open in the open?
Yeah, it's in some tiny little case,
Okay.
about the size of a ring box, I'd say.
She she stuffs it in a little bag, not too dissimilar to a dice bag, um, and ties the bag in a loop around her neck. Um, and she's doing this as she's kind of looking at it and walking absently away from Java. She did say thanks. She didn't just take it and then start walking away from him.
That's good.
If he follows her, uh, she is going straight to where she wherever she last knew Brother Nick to be.
Okay.
Or, where is that, Ethan?
Thanks for saying this is at the end, Ed. He'd probably still be in the shop,
Oh,
wherever that is in the space station.
all right. You know what? I take that back. She's waiting until he's back at the ship, until he comes back for a meal or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I figure after cleaning up the shop and stuff, he'd head back to the ship.
Okay. So what Java sees instead is she thanks him for it, loops it, puts it in the bag, loops it around her neck, and then just kind of goes about the rest of her day until she sees Brother Nick again. We'll say that at that point she's like kind of just sitting in the galley, snacking on something when Brother Nick comes in.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he'd totally notice. He's probably thinking about hitting the shower.
Okay, yeah, she catches his attention. Um, Brother Nick,
Yes, no?
she pulls the bag up off. It's just hanging around her neck. Uh, Shows him this kind of plain bag and says, "It's in here. You can listen to what I'm doing anytime."
Oh, okay. So, yes. Taking a bit process. You're carrying the bug on yourself?
Yes.
Well, I think he'd come and put a hand on her shoulder and say, "That's very sweet of you, Nero, but I don't have to have a bug on you at all."
She looks at him, eyes a little bit dubious and mouth still, lips slightly parted. I'm gonna wear it for at least a week.
Is this in response to last session's mix-up?
Yes.
Oh dear.
How to do it.
If you want to know where I am, you can just listen.
still give a bit of a smile and say, no, there's not much stopping you when you set your mind to something like this, but you really don't have to, Nero, and
I want to. I didn't kind of gets that little far off look. I didn't like when you and Saoirse didn't trust me. So
I'll say his hand still, or maybe putting a hand back on her shoulder. Say, Nero, I'll always trust you. I'm sorry if I made you feel like I didn't. I haven't been good with family before, and this crew, you've felt like the brothers and sisters that I haven't seen in a long time, and you specifically, like a daughter I didn't even really think I wanted until, not you, I mean, I'll say getting flustered. Not saying I didn't want to be your crewmate, but I didn't picture having a family. That's all I'm trying to say, and I care about you a lot.
This brings a quick clip of a wistful smile to her lips. Um, and gosh, I kind of forgot what I was gonna have her follow up with that. It fades pretty quickly. I miss my family too.
And I guess at that, maybe getting a little more. It's still staying somber, but he says, and I know you said you and Java didn't have anything going on, but I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world if
I have a
you two
boyfriend.
were. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, she flat out interrupts him on that.
Love he was putting the brave face on, like, it wouldn't be that bad. And then it's like the moment she says otherwise, like, oh, just instant relief. Mm. Yeah, it's great.
And she slips the bag under her shirt, so that it's not just kind of dangling out there.
All right. They have any more conversation to be had here?
Nero doesn't. She finishes whatever she's eating.
Oh yeah, Brother Nick's good from there.
So after that heartwarming little conversation, Brother Nick goes back to his little room. Give me a notice check from Brother Nick.
Let's see.
Roll low,
What
Ethan.
attribute
Roll
is
low.
wisdom?
For the sake of drama, please roll low. Yes, wisdom.
Ah,
Let's
just
see.
enough.
Give me a sneak what would it be? Sneak, probably wisdom check from, was it Cade?
Yep, that
Alright,
was me.
go ahead and give me that check.
Yes.
Alright, so Brother Nick does his thing. I don't know if he needs to freshen up or anything before relaxing, or what time he does this, but uh, when is the next time that he goes to lay in his hammock?
It's probably that evening.
Okay, well, ready to relax, call it the end of the day. He climbs in his hammock and is greeted by a series of loud and repetitive crunching underneath him in his hammock. And the air is filled with the smell of rice, crisped rice. And chocolate, was it?
Yeah, they're chocolate protein rice cakes.
Unfortunately, not loud enough to travel, but I imagine a certain someone has been. Oh, well, let's see. Uh, I'm guessing Brother Nick probably closed his door.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I suspect the only one who hears this is Cade, who was watching and waiting for this moment. 'Cause the armory does have a camera in it.
That's true.
That's true.
How does Brother Nick react?
Uh, uh, I think first, yeah, a bit of surprise, and then hops out to see what had made the crunch.
Yeah, he hops up and notices little flakes dusting off of him, and finds a package of uh, somewhat now crushed rice cakes. It looks just like the ones that that Nero and Java were eating. Nero and Java feel a disturbance in the force. Something is deeply wrong. So what's Brother Nick gonna do about these rice cakes now?
Hmm. Let's see. Can he go to the storage closet and find like a box or a bucket or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good.
Yes, I think he'll collect up the rice cakes and leave them in his room with thoughts of early morning revenge as he figures out who the culprit is.
Nice. All right. So there's now a box of partially crunched rice cakes in the armory slash Brother Nick's sleeping quarters.
So, how many rice cakes was this?
Let's see.
Are you sure it was
10.
only one pack if you charged me 50 credits?
Oh, did you put all of them in there?
Absolutely. He would have filled it.
um. All right. Well, our calculations are getting a little bit off here. I'm gonna say in order to have done it in a way that Brother Nick wouldn't immediately notice upon trying to get into
Okay.
his hammock. He didn't. He got several packs. I'll say he got 5 packs. Still fairly pricey for what amounts to some snack cakes, but um, not quite so bad. So, let's say he could have put 2 of them in there.
Okay.
Still got 3, and we'll say these are packs of 10.
There's
All
20
right.
rice.
Make sure you add the rice cakes to your inventory, and yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Gently used.
I'm gonna have to be careful here that I don't accidentally break the game's economy and fleshing out these rice cakes, create an infinite
That's
money
our
glitch or anything.
it's our evil outpost plan. We're wrecking the economy with rice cake production.
Rice cake inflation, baby.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, it's at least a great way to guarantee Java and Nero's help anytime you need it. Get a hefty supply of rice cakes on the side.
Yep.
I'm definitely logging 3 packages of rice cakes because yeah, you're right. That's total bribery material.
They'll do anything you ask them to. Anything.
All right. Let's see.
So
I
you
am
used to
going
buy Nero's
to.
vote like that.
Yeah. She'd have like a Snickers bar, I think.
Anytime Nero looked like she was protesting something, hand her a Snickers. Now she's busy chewing.
Yeah. That was great. I'm gonna take 5 to 10 here. If you guys wouldn't mind, I guess whichever of you can, if you guys could line up some broad outline of what your goals are regarding an outpost. Um, the things I will say, sounds like both Ethan and Robert have the Distant Lights book. Um,
I actually found out that I don't have it. I went looking for it. It's the one I don't have.
yeah, it's a new one. But basically, tonnage is going to be a serious consideration. But I actually posted, I think, in the out of character planning. Yeah, I
Mhm.
posted a couple questions that I felt like would be a good starting point. Uh, to lay the groundwork. At some point, you guys will need to come up with how much you're willing to spend on it, but first you want to know like what your priorities actually are to do with it. So, if you guys don't mind getting started on that a little bit, I figured that's good to
Okay.
take time while I go check on Danielle.
Oh, it was corporate headquarters I was thinking of in Sons of Gold.
Mm,
That's why I thought I
yeah,
had it.
and that's I unless you guys decide on a very different purpose for the outpost, then well, yeah, and those are for like on a planet that's already pretty well covered by civilization,
Yes.
um, which you guys may. I don't know if you guys are going to be interested in getting that deep. I've definitely considered some of that for your art store related stuff, but haven't gotten into all that. So anyway, we'll leave you guys with
Yeah.
that. I'll be back in 5 to 10ish.
I,
What votes on Asteroid? Sounds cool.
yeah, asteroid or a moon would be cool.
Yeah, I guess Moon would be better. It'd probably be like more consistent environmentally.
Yeah, and orbitally. If that's a word. I figure our main goal with it would be to have a safe place, somewhere where we could like stash extra fuel, trade supplies,
Hmm.
like a hidey hole, bolt hole, since we've been interfering in this whole
Well,
conflict.
what Ethan posted, I mean, I agree with everything there. It looks like a great start. Maybe we don't need quite so much life support for the population, Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had talked with Ben about that. What
Maybe a
was
quarter of it?
Wait, where is this post we're referencing?
It's planning. Artificial
626.
planning. Yeah.
Yeah, so with that, I was saying main thing was the self-sufficiency, but I had also thought he mentioned the Uralin pharmaceutical stuff was because of some plants. So I was thinking, if there's
Oh.
anything that's growing, it would let us maybe, start a cottage industry of their pharmaceuticals. But I think from what he had said, that's a bit of a no-go. So
Okay.
yeah, probably cut down on our life support and then give the farming stuff.
Yeah, if that's a no-go, then we should scale back life support to just what we need and then come up with something else or a way to provide value.
Although I think if we're doing this in space, we will have to go and get the air life support.
Mm. Yeah, that's relatively easy.
Without diving in too much, I think I basically just generally support us kind of having a space that we can customize for our needs and where we can kind of plant Boris and grow from that space, um, kind of a diplomatic embassy, basically, for our own growing political influence.
Where would we put it, though?
I
I had
imagine.
thought putting it. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go.
I was thinking just put it on Anagris and maybe see if there's like a out of the way spot. But with you mentioning that corporate headquarters, I'm kind of wondering if that's a simpler way to maybe get the main thing that we're wanting,
Hmm.
which is sort of a place to stash our buddies, place we can come in, have a main base of operations, and yeah, start to exert some political and economic influence on the CIS systems.
I would suggest sticking with the material in in Distant Lights because the content in Sons of Gold is oriented toward trade campaigns. The content in Distant
True.
Lights is very specifically oriented to player outposts, which is,
Yeah, it's a small enough scale to.
I mean, that's also
Well,
exactly
what did
what
you
we're
think
trying to
about my
build.
concern over the rudder? Because Anagris wants to protect that rudder. Like, we
Yeah.
can sneak in and out because we have a copy, but they're not going to want to let us keep it. I was thinking we could pick maybe Eriscore Cupiates and pick like a moon that's well away from that Guardian space station and build an outpost of our own there. Or we could
Hmm.
pick like an outer system or outer part of the Uralin system that's relatively abandoned / ignored because it's useless and hide it there because it's more stealth than it is
I actually
anything else.
think Aeroscore Kupiec is a good suggestion, and using a moon, uh, in addition to trying to stay out of shooting range of the station, might just be something that we could use um, to protect ourselves from the radiation. If we can get um, an orbit that just always keeps the moon in between the sun and the station.
Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna take a couple quick minutes here while we're on
Yeah.
break.
Other options, Ethan, would be to hold off until we've got until things are settled with Urala, and then build it in Urala space. I just don't know how long
Yeah,
that would be.
Yeah, I have the amount of time. Uh,
But I mean, I also I like Anagras enough that I don't think Anagras is off the table. Maybe not something on the planet. Just basically ask for permission to build uh our embassy, so to speak, in their outer rim, somewhere that's well away from the planet, and just basically request a little bit of sovereign territory there.
You
oh
talking
yeah,
about
it's
sovereign
just finding.
territory in the Anagras system?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well outside, like outer rim type location.
Okay, so not even on the planet, the primary planet itself, just on some
Right.
uh,
Yeah, I doubt any
cold rock somewhere.
nation or any world would be like, yeah, sure, here's some land. It's all yours now. Our laws don't apply to you anymore.
Right. Yeah, you guys would be. Yeah, you could potentially, if you were in very good standing with,
Mm-hmm.
that would be subject to their laws, but you probably wouldn't want to even bother because that defeats a lot of the purpose of having your own place.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys talk about the purpose? It sounds like actually that that may have been the better first question
Mm-hmm.
because that could determine where you actually want to put it.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Um, basic. Well, I suggested that we um, keep it focused on a personal space, um, outfitted and customized for us, with a workshop for Boris to work, and and a location from which we can base our political power with this alliance. Um, Essentially, a floating embassy for our growing influence.
Okay.
Um, I didn't hear much response to that, so I may not have gotten any agreement at all.
Okay. You're telling me you guys didn't solve this in 5 minutes?
Oh,
Ugh, I'm disappointed in you guys.
sorry, scanning through the book stuff while trying to bounce conversation. I'm not multitasking well.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. Robert, you heard what I said, as far as focus of the station goes, right?
No, I think I don't remember that.
Oh. I may have just said it to myself in my own mind at this point. I don't know.
What were you saying the focus of the station should be?
Um, Basically a customized station for us with a workshop for Boris, and a location from which we can begin to grow our political influence and add on to it as an embassy once we've got some kind of power there.
Sounds good to me.
I can't stress enough though that if we're doing stuff like this, I know how I don't have this book, but I know how much the stuff costs, and we are going to need paying jobs or
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um, Kevin Crawford does not write things
That are
that,
cheap for players.
well, that are easy ways for players to make money. He does not design systems that you can
Yes.
construct such and such and have a revenue stream.
Yes.
Is all of his design purpose is to be is something that basically is okay, and now you do an adventure because you're doing this.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I should probably pick a copy of that up.
Yeah, I haven't actually mathed it out yet. It is interesting though. I was quite taken aback at first by how much uh how much he includes in the gain income section. Um, th- about now these those do require facilities that for the most part are pretty expensive.
Hmm.
Um, so it seems like you know, dump a nest egg into it and then get some sort of relatively stable um, source. Although, and I don't know, it may be he may have designed it primarily so that it has a way to sustain its own cost, at least partially. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you can drop 1 million credits. You can drop, well, millions of credits on staffing potentially hundreds of workers extracting raw materials and processing them into material goods. And as long as your outpost is located somewhere that gets any sort of far trader traffic, you can just kind of assume that you're able to sell off some amount of it every so often. um, yeah, it actually is kind of remarkable. Now, I don't think you guys will be getting into any of that anytime soon because it gets very pricey to start with.
Hmm.
I bet.
Anyways,
I mean, at the current point, it would serve as a bit of prep area for us and downtime area for us away from places like Tabuk and Harvario.
Hmm.
hmm
So,
yeah,
Which
well,
is actually another point in favor of Anagras being its location, because it feels like we could probably look to Anagras for some protection if Tabuk or Hervario decided that they didn't like us anymore.
that's true. There's still the trouble of that rudder, so we would need some sort of official relationship with the Anagrian government.
True. And I'm sorry, I cut you off there, Ben.
oh no, you're okay. Um, actually, um, just looking at some of these things. If you guys basically just wanted a place to be able to, you know, land your ship, you know, get off the ship and unwind for a bit, uh, while being off the radar or something. Um, it's not too tricky. You could probably, I'm just eyeballing a few of these things quickly. Um, that one is kind of expensive. How much is that? Sorry. You could probably get um a little setup for around 100, maybe 200 if you're pushing at 1,000 credits. Um, as long as you don't have any great desires for extra capabilities or fancy stuff.
We want the equivalent of a workshop there.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's something I uh, might have to uh, tweak or homebrew a little bit because it doesn't seem to be. At least I didn't see anything that explicitly says, "Oh yeah, this works like a workshop, similar to such and such fitting." Um, there's like a vehicle shop. Uh,
Then I'm guessing maybe Kevin would have been intended that a less than vehicle grade workshop, like a personal scale workshop for weapons and like hardware, probably would have been like included ish. Because like the station, the outpost would require maintenance. Everything would require maintenance, life support, whatnot.
yeah, and
So you'd
there's
have to have a workshop no matter what.
yeah, I guess I maybe kind of the difference between having tools and parts that you can use to maintain and repair um, a facility versus a workshop full of the right tools to take apart and put back together weapons and armor and that sort of thing. Although it, you know, beyond like the fictional justification for it, I think to some extent the bottom line is putting some sort of cost, some sort of price tag on having the ability to mod your stuff. So what I
Yeah.
would probably do is I would either consider one of the facilities that already exist there as basically the equivalent of that. Like the vehicle shop would definitely do the trick. That would include smaller work as well, though that gets a tad bit pricey. Um, so I could probably come up with something cheaper if that would just function as a smaller shop that would be more comparable to um, what a workshop on a ship would be able to do. Uh, so yeah, that's definitely feasible, and I'd say you guys could get that in the range of 1 to 200,000 credits after Ethan and I hash it out.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably enough on that for now. We can sort out some of those details offline later. All right, so Danielle said she'd be back soon. Um, sounds like she may have gotten delayed again, but uh, move on. So at the end of your week, we've you've accomplished all those things that we've already discussed. You've also been approached with by the Anagrian delegation, indicating that they have supplies that have arrived for you to load up and deliver both to Urala and um, you have uh, the abbot who is looking forward to meeting Brother Nick again. He says he's got something for the Jakari. Now, would Brother Nick like to invite him onto the ship, or would he want to go meet him on his? He apparently brought a little shuttle.
Probably go meet him on his ship.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say, thank you so much. That is amazing. The like flapping tongue just makes it.
Yeah, you
boy.
gotta imagine the car noises, but you know.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so Brother Nick goes. Does he want to invite anyone else to come along with him, or does he want to do this alone?
I think handle it solo.
Okay. Right, so he'll be uh, he'll be able to go and find the docking port that Benjiro is hooked up to, and he'll of course be granted access. He'll can board, and he's greeted warmly by the abbot himself. It seems like uh, he's come with just a single helper. Um, but the cargo hold of the shuttle is filled almost to the top with various crates, and says, "Oh, brother Nick, it's good to see you. It's been too long. I didn't know what to bring and didn't want to take the time to back and forth, so I just thought I'd go ahead and bring some things that I could imagine they might need." And he embraces Brother Nick warmly, assuming he accepts that.
Oh yeah, I'll be happy to see him.
Blessings and long life on you. You're looking good, but I do hope you've been holding up well. Your spirits are good, I hope.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tex.
No problem.
Vote of confidence there.
That was good for a laugh.
Yeah, he takes Brother Nick by the shoulders, back at arm's length, gives him a very piercing look. You know, I always did say that you would be better off remaining at the monastery, but God's will is sometimes difficult to determine. I cannot always say that I can make those choices for everyone else. Ah, but I digress. Tell me these Jakari, what are they like? You say they're in need, but you were very sparse with the details. Come, sit. He pops out a little folding chair, sit up there in the little walkway they have.
okay. Yeah, so the ice will be weighing, to condense the several months of happenings into easily digestible
Got you. Yeah,
conversation.
uh, and are there any particular, I mean, other than some of the obviously very sensitive information that Brother Nick wouldn't just bandy about, are there any details of the kind of stuff that he's been up to that he would not want to tell the abbot about? Things that he wouldn't approve of, for example?
Mhm. Uh, Probably gloss over some of the murders. It's while being a militant order. The Abbot Rinjiro was not as ardent in that aspect,
Hmm.
and these are, I guess, less cut and dry, crusading kind of things.
Yeah, there wasn't the clear need to slaughter these people in the name of God, so uh, yeah, it might be a hard sell. Okay.
Yeah, I guess dodging uh, any of the stuff they've been keeping secret so far.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and just throw me a talk check for Brother Nick. Um,
I'm probably not talking too much about the Church of the Thoughts. Try and keep the light on those people, or I
okay.
guess inform them, but not inform. I guess the level of tolerance that is displayed for them up till now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oof.
Okay. Uh, I guess that does pretty well. Um,
I guess.
Mr. 15 over there. Uh, okay. Yeah, so
You get the
brother
chance to re-roll the one if that's
um yeah, so Brother Nick deftly weaves his story around the various killing and fighting that happened, really only bringing up instances of self-defense uh, and the like. Manages to avoid going into detail about the Church of the Fox um, and any of his involvement, and keeps it all going in a fashion that the abbot doesn't he doesn't pause and try to dig deeper on any of those points that he would likely contend with Brother Nick on. Uh, but then, of course, Brother Nick describes the Jakari, and uh, so I'm guessing he would at least mention the fact that there are human hybrids, right?
yeah. So I guess he explain what they know. I guess scientific wise
Okay.
about what had happened with the Jakari, some of the experiments,
Okay.
and I guess the variety that they've seen.
Mm-hmm. So the abbot be uh, would be a little bit concerned hearing the description of all those, and afterward he would ask Brother Nick uh, about the level of intelligence they've observed in some of these aliens, because it sounds to him like, other than these human hybrids who are obviously of comparable human intellect, some of them sound a little better than beasts. And it is not that this is, that beasts are unworthy of being cared for and in responsible ways, but I'm not sure how much involvement the church should have in caring for. But of course, your friend Tom and the others that are like him, uh, we would we would be more than happy to extend the hand of fellowship and aid to them under the right circumstances, of course.
Uh, yes, I think you'd preface by explaining they haven't had a whole lot of FaceTime with other Jakari that aren't Tom.
Okay.
But and so I guess that they still need to find out more about the Jakari and how all their different forms work.
Okay.
But that they had, I guess, sensed thoughts that rose to the level of telepathy, if I'm remembering right, from Sersha's metapsionics.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess also explained that even if some of them aren't sentient in the way we typically describe sentience, that there does seem they did identify a queen, and that some of these other seemingly less intelligent life forms are might just be extensions of the intelligent queen.
Okay. Yeah, he thinks on that for a minute and listens to your clarifications and explanation, and would he'd ultimately, with a kind of befuddled look, say, "Well, I suppose if I'll leave some of the more the finer points of determining their capacity for faith to you, Brother Nick, and if they can submit themselves to baptism in the name of our Lord, partake of communion, and who am I to judge?" And he, we'll leave this in the hands of God. Yes. So he turns and gestures to the crates. Uh, brought a couple of crates of variety of clothing. Perhaps thought, given the dire situation you described, they could perhaps need all sort of things. Then, of course, plenty of foodstuffs. Uh, and some bits of materials for making shelter. Perhaps not the most robust sort, but better than being homeless at least. Uh, this is the best I could come up with on short notice. But perhaps in time and with more clarity about their situation, the church could be moved to greater generosity. I would say I should probably meet your friend Tom before I go, if only to make sure he knows who is bestowing this gift upon him. Do you think
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be all right? I didn't hear your response.
I'm
Did Brother
sorry.
Nick say
Yes,
that was
he'd
fine?
thank the abbot for Alright, yeah, in character. Thank you for your generosity, Abbott. I'm sure all of this will be a help to the Jakari. And of course, I'm sure Tom would love to meet you. He's been serving as a diplomat of sorts for his people while we've been on the space station, and would love to make as many connections as he can. And thank you for this most gracious gift.
Very good, very good. And so he would nod to his helper, and he would start loading up coal crates on basically a hand truck, and on the walk over to your ship, he would ask you how go the conversion efforts on our friend Tom, and it sounds like you may not have had a lot of time, but had some weeks, I suppose.
Yeah, so yes, I have been discussing some of the elementary principles of the faith, though at first we had to work on teaching him reading and more about the outside world to give him a grounding and explaining some of these principles.
Ah, yes, I hadn't considered the barrier of teaching him to read. Has he already mastered this skill? I don't know what we would do if we couldn't give him a Bible so he could read it for himself.
Yes, Tom's already become quite the reader and is becoming more and more versed in human affairs and knowledge.
He's nodding along with all this. Good, good. Uh, how how much of the texts have you read with him, or perhaps has he read on his own? And you'd be asking this maybe as they arrive at the airlock of the ship and are making their way through.
Okay, say I've read with him some and provided him a copy, though I can't speak to how much he's read of it yet.
Well, very good, very good. Better than I'd expected, honestly. He gives Brother Nick kind of that old that older man kind of critical eye. You never did prove to be particularly adept in the ways of evangelism, but no matter. Everyone has their own different gifts. um, and after that question, he leaves off grilling Brother Nick, and when Brother Nick takes him to Tom, he's every bit as taken aback as you might expect from someone who hadn't seen an alien before, but he composes himself quickly enough and greets Tom warmly, uh, asks after his health and some kind of basic questions about his uh, his people back on his home. And, of course, Tom doesn't tell him anything that he hasn't already found out from Brother Nick, but um, the abbot is after not a lot of conversation, but uh, just enough to have exchanged pleasantries and expressed his concern for them and his hope that they'll do well and that the gifts will be sufficient. He he urges Tom, says, "Now I encourage you to avail yourself of the book that my good brother Nick has gifted to you. I know it is all very new, but I am sure that you will find much wisdom and truth within its pages. Um, we accept all who are of sound mind and able to understand the truths that our Lord has revealed to us. But regardless, if you are in need, you can always contact us through Brother Nick. We will do whatever we can to help. The church does prize its benevolence. We would leave none without food or shelter if it is within our power. And especially those of the faith. But I bid you farewell. May peace go with you. And uh, he'll let Brother Nick show him back out of the ship. And after just it only take a few more trips back and forth to transfer the double handful of crates with various supplies and food that they're sending for the Jakari. And let's see. Anything else you guys want to get up to? I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to do on the station before you left.
Think
I,
that covered her list of stuff. I'm guessing some of that or some of our background conversation stuff happened in the week prior, or our fast forwarded week. Oh, I'm in the wrong channel. That's why I can't find the plan.
I think firework pranks are a bad taste, but that's just me.
What? Pranking toddlers is tight.
It doesn't have to be toddlers to be funny.
I admit I have thought about doing it to my brother-in-law, but I've been nice and I haven't done anything like that.
Smart. Oh, I saw I saw something, and maybe on Friday that said something like, "Somebody in America doesn't realize that this is their last weekend with all 10 of their fingers." And it was both hilarious and a little bit depressing,
Terrifying.
but
Yeah.
that is the truth, and that's why I never mess with fireworks. just not worth it. Uh, but
I mean, the
most people do.
small ones are generally okay, but
Yeah,
the big ones, yeah, no, do not play with those.
yeah. There's always somebody like, yeah, we were just lighting these up and pointing them at each other to see who would flinch first.
Yeah.
uh,
Do not mix them in alcohol ever.
yeah. Um,
Have you
but
all ever pointed a Roman candle at a Christmas tree?
oh dear,
You want to talk
can't
about
say that I
fun?
have.
No, I
Yeah,
have not.
it's- that sounds like a story we need to hear sometime.
Oh, it's 2 holidays, 2 fun.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I think we're trying to get some supplies for our return trip.
Yeah.
We had that shopping list at some point. I don't know if we picked up that stuff.
Oh yeah, let's see. That was somewhere in out of character planning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ah, yeah, I
Reply
see
to it.
here
Oh, there you go.
the shopping list. Okay. Ah, translator torque, anti-rad meds, special anti-rad suits, so on and so forth. Let's see. Yeah,
Oh, I guess we don't need the pre-modded weapons now since we had mod time. You got the
mhm,
boosted sword.
yeah.
And I don't know if we really needed Lazarus patches. I guess that was mostly for healing our heal bot.
Yeah. Let's see. So I will say that vac suits generally give protection against radiation. Um, I don't know.
I think we were with that. We were trying to protect ourselves for Arascore Coupiettes because
Right.
Yeah, I think last time it was there we'd said something like there was more radiation than a vac suit could typically handle.
was that a misunderstanding on our part?
So let me just make sure I'm not misunderstanding the comparison between a vac suit and like a ship hull. Um, because obviously, like ships, typical ships give some sort of, they protect you from the background radiation that is inherent in a solar system. Uh, and so they perform that function at least in a comparable fashion. Just checking because I know vac suits. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Vac suits protect against ordinary levels of cosmic radiation. So yeah, it's definitely going to be the standard ones are going to be insufficient in that system. Um, Now,
Okay.
if you wanted something beefier, that could those do exist, but I don't know of anything that you can just you know buy at a regular old shop that would do that for you. Um,
Is that something that we could do with a mod? If there's no
hmm,
example mod for that, just before you go
mhm,
looking.
yeah. I didn't think there was. Let's see. I wanted to say, gonna check the uh let's see, the bioadaptation. Okay, I must be imagining this. It, can you guys remember? I feel like there's something that very explicitly can withstand like very extreme conditions.
Hmm.
in maybe I'm remembering what the vac suit says it can do, but I'm applying it to radiation when it doesn't necessarily. Yeah.
Let's see.
I think I am. Uh, do. Yeah, okay. So you guys want some special beefy suits. Mhm. Give me let me glance at the rest of the list here. Anti-rad meds. Of course, there's the
You basically
there's
want to be able to operate in Aeroscore Coupiettes without having to constantly pop pills.
mm-hmm. Right, that would definitely be nice. Because you guys got, I believe what we did before. Um, there were, I don't know if I priced those out for you guys before. I may have, but I'm forgetting. Um, if you can give me a few minutes here. I know we're close to wrapping up anyway, but give me a minute here to come up with something for a couple of these points. You guys figure out what the more hacking stuff for Cade would be and
What
decide on, I guess, a number of Lazarus patches.
I found it. Excuse me. I think I found what you were confusing for the vac suit.
Okay.
The field emitter panoply is particularly effective at filtering radiation and renders the wearer immune to any dose that wouldn't kill them in seconds.
Mm,
So
okay.
much stronger
Oh.
protection in the FEP, which is powered
Got
armor.
you. Yeah, pre-tech powered armor
Yeah,
of the highest degree.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
it's literally the best armor you can get without being artifact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for any option other than that, but I'm not seeing
Okay.
anything.
Yeah. So what I'll probably end up having to do is homebrew something real quick, but it doesn't. I don't mind. It'll, obviously it won't be there'll be trade-offs and such, but let me work on that while you guys figure out if I guess what hacking stuff and Lazarus patches you want. Although I don't need to know. You guys can just pick a number of Lazarus patches to buy. All right, be right back.
Okay.
I am not sure about extra hacking things for Cade, so a few extra line shunts and storage units is about all I can figure.
Yeah, I guess
I don't
those
have
were
much use for the others.
that was all the replenishable stuff we thought. I don't know if you had quantities in mind.
Well, let me double check my character sheet. I think I have a couple. So, based on previous things, the storage unit's been used, and I have 2 line shunts left. So, probably another storage unit, another couple line shunts.
Okay.
I think that's all
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
at you
need.
go, so that tied us over for a while, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. We haven't needed line shunts in a while. Not since the base.
Okay, so we edit that.
I can't think of anything that that I want for Nero except for like powered armor.
Oh, we already got
Uh,
Twinkies on there as a concession. You said 2 more line shots?
yeah.
Yeah, which one are you doing back there? And Lazarus patches. How many, or does anyone have any? I guess first question.
No, I do not. Kid has some survival stuff, but that's about it. In addition to his hacking stuff.
Okay, maybe pick up one each. So the 5 player characters plus Victor, Ahmed, and Tom. So 8. And that should give us plenty, because this is really just like if something happens to Saoirse, I think, more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're in a situation, I guess, where you're not immediately with her.
I forget if she has the thing that makes it effortless. But whether she does or not, you may have just been talking about this. I zoned out for a second. A few doses of lift might not be a bad idea.
Oh yeah, adding that to the list. Maybe. Like half as many. Or
I honestly they're only 50 each, if I remember right.
okay, that's not terrible. So yeah, pick up another.
Pharmaceuticals, yeah, they're only 50 each. Um,
Another one each. Yeah.
I think so.
Just know that Kate has -1 on heal, so if we're down to people like Cade needing to stabilize somebody, it's not a good situation.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what the las patches are for.
Yeah.
Lift does require heal 0. I always forget that.
I mean, Lazarus Patch still requires a skill check, just FYI.
Well, pharmaceuticals. Lazarus patch isn't pharmaceutical. Pharmaceuticals specifically, with the sole exceptions of Pretech Cosmetics and Psych, require you to have the heal skill at a certain level.
Oh.
They don't
Okay.
usually require you to make a check. Like LazPatch is just a piece of equipment through which you can make a check. It's basically a better med kit for one purpose. Whereas
That makes sense.
pharmaceuticals do some honestly pretty amazing things, but you typically have to have a certain level of heal skill to even use them.
Yeah.
So the lift might not be a good idea after all, Ethan.
Oh yeah. Oh,
We'll
Because
have
yeah, we'd
Right,
need
I'm back.
heal 0 to be
mean,
able to use it.
yeah.
Dead
Somebody has
Octavian.
heal 0 though, surely.
Oh, I do.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was also going to ask, does she have the technique that, does she have Mustard Succor? Or
Oh, yeah.
Succor? Okay. So, Saoirse will never need to commit effort to heal, and the system strain that we spend for her heal gives back a lot more hit points than Lift. So Lift would
That's
only be useful in a situation where we're split up
Do we need to
from
boost
Saoirse.
Saoirse? Yeah.
No, because as long as oh actually yeah, I guess if she were knocked out, but even then
Yeah.
you're once you're stabilized, you can get back up and then she can heal herself.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's mostly for if the party is split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Saoirse's down. And I guess this is just us really covering our bases.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's got crazy healing powers at this point.
She does.
Yeah, if you need lift, we're in trouble.
Is she at level 3 or 4, Ben? Bioscion.
With biosonics, I think biosonics are 3. Let me double check that. But
Yeah. Even at 3, that's still 2d6 plus 6. Like, her minimum is 1 point below Lift's maximum.
Wow, that's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Pays to be a
Mhm.
biosonic.
Yep.
Yes, it does. Um, let's see. I'll point out that okay, 10 minutes of recovery. So, excuse me. Yeah, so I think lift takes 10 minutes anyway, right?
I think it's 5.
Okay.
So I guess,
Um,
I mean, that someone looked that up. I'm not certain.
let's see. I'm checking here. Yeah, 5 minutes. So technically, being able to dose her with lift after you
Mm-hmm.
stabilize her would get her on her feet quicker than just normal because typically you get 1 hit point after 10 minutes of recovery being stabilized. Um, at which point then you can function normally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay, so it is, I guess, a quick 1-2 punch then of Lazarus Patch and Lift and
mhm.
It would
with an
definitely
actual
be
healing
good to
factor.
have if those extra 5 minutes, if we're ever in a situation where those extra 5 minutes matter, then
Yeah,
lift would be a lifesaver.
and that's definitely a possibility. Like you guys are in a firefight and she gets
Mhm.
down. It's like, uh-oh.
Yep.
All right.
Um, I
So
guess
then,
I got one more question for you, Ben.
okay, yeah, shoot.
There have been various hints dropped that Urala is a kind of a medical pharmaceutical miracle planet. Um, would they happen to be able to provide or supply pre-tech cosmetics? Is that the kind of miracle planet they are?
So let me think briefly about what all the party would know for sure. Um, you would know that to a large extent, what that, medical marvel kind of valuable status was referring to is the fact that none of the other known systems over in that sector had the natural resources to produce lift and Lazarus patches.
Ah,
Like
okay.
one of those, uh, one of those unknown arbitrary ingredients that it takes to make the magic TL4 juices work uh,
Hmm.
are only found there in that area. However, those resources were a bit more widespread back in Anagras land, uh, on that side of the divide, so to speak. So that's actually one that's going to be one major impact of the connection. The more publicized it becomes, the more that part of Urala's status is minimized.
On the
Um,
plus side, the more Urala's side of that connection is minimized.
Mhm.
mhm.
And the more appealing targets past Urala might look to boot. So they become even more likely targets in the future.
So then as far as specifically pre-tech cosmetics, uh, no, you haven't gotten any indication that Urala can produce those. Um, you do You do know there's some secrets they had about some of their pre-tech equipment related to their religious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you're not you're sure that you don't know everything about their secrets. Let me go ahead and answer a couple of points. 1127. Okay. All right. So anti-radiation meds. I was. Um, what I was going to say. There's not a. Oh wait, didn't I find that in another book? Yeah. I didn't want to go digging through all those books. Uh,
You
right
want to hold
now,
it for later?
yeah, I was gonna say I'll sort out the exact price for anti-rad meds, and that'll be homework for me. Um, the shopping list. Um, but the suits themselves, you ask around, and you find out that um, there are manufacturers who make suits that are specially designed for extremely hazardous environments. And they are essentially vac suits that are much more resilient and hardened for specific hazards. You basically have to get them specialized, and they design the entire thing around kind of a particular and target environment. So, if you're looking for primarily uh, major radiation exposure, then you can you can definitely get suits like that. Um, you'd have to have them shipped. We can retroactively say you guys would have looked into this around the start of the week, so this time can have passed. They'd have had to be delivered from the planet. Um, but suits like that, they'd be fairly bulky. They're going to be uh, a bit difficult to do fine motor skill type stuff in, um, though you can grow accustomed to them uh, with the right sort of practice. They're gonna run you 2,000 credits a pop,
Oh,
but they at least come with the manufacturer's guarantee that they will protect you from any dose of radiation short of bathing in a star's penumbra or your money back, assuming you're alive to collect.
Big caveat.
yeah.
um, but this is someone that Brother Nick could have gotten in touch with through trusted sources of his. Swear by this vendor.
Mm.
So, any takers?
What do we got?
How much did you say those hardened rad suits are?
2,000
1,000.
apiece.
2,000?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd be looking at 12,000 without Tom, which, as far as we know, he doesn't need it, right?
You mentioned 6 suits. Of course, you're talking about the 5 of you crew members. Who's number 6?
Victor.
Okay.
Yes. Do we get a point, an extra experience point for remembering an NPC you forgot?
Oh no, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Forgot. I don't know. It depends on whether or not you were planning to just drop Boris off somewhere else, or if you were gonna get him a
Hmm.
suit too,
Fair enough.
or Ahmed.
Yeah, we would definitely need like 10 suits just to be safe, in case there's a malfunction.
Have a backup
So,
or two.
or we just take on some crew or something. 2,000 for what you've described as basically a poorly functioning, uh, poor mobility vac suit seems high to me, but we also have plenty of money for the time being. It would just eat into, in a very small amount, into Ethan's budget for outpost construction.
I will point out if you're looking for backup in case of something failing, you do have the anti-rad meds themselves.
Fair.
And
You bathe in the stars, but no, bro.
yeah, so we can sort out the final details of all that later. We do need to go ahead and wrap up, I think. But if we can sort out some of those little shopping details, and Ethan and I can work out potential outpost stuff, um, then we should be able to pick up next week with a little send off from Martin Alder, and you can be on your way.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get our favorinos. Okay. Um. And I am going first. I I I will just I think I just have to say my favorite was definitely getting to grill Brother Nick about his evangelism efforts.
That was good.
Um, I think that took the cake for me. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. Danielle, of course, is absent, which leaves us with Dexter.
Brother Nick getting flustered uh, at his own words when he's usually the calm and composed face. Specifically, in calling Netero the daughter he didn't want.
Nice. Yeah, that one. I guess I missed that specific wording. I was.
I am paraphrasing. I have to go back and listen to it again to get the exact words. Once I do, it'll be listed in quotes for y'all.
Nice. Yeah, that that was a great moment though. I was trying to figure out. I was like, wait, what does she want this thing for? And uh, it definitely dawned on me like as she put it on herself. I was like, oh.
It's cowbell.
Yeah. Yeah, good moment. Ethan, what about you?
I guess having the talk with Nero, that was a good balance, I guess, of some more levity and I guess a good resolution to some stuff from last session.
Yeah. Robert.
Um, I think my favorite was the incident with the bug, as well as Brother Nick finding the rice cakes in his bed.
Chekhov's rice cakes.
Yep.
Long live the rice cakes. We're going to be very careful to make sure we feature them in every session from now on. It's a good running gag. Avery, that brings us to you.
I'm gonna go with Nick's speech about brotherly love and family that was immediately followed by pranks against him by the aforementioned family.
Yep.
Nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, that was. Mhm. We family. True. True that. Let's see. Everyone take an experience point.
Woo.
And I believe that concludes our session for today. Man, time
Okay.
flies when you are having fun. I guess we did also went through a whole week's worth of downtime.
Yep.
I don't know if your intent was to resolve that out of character or like off session. I mean,
Resolve which thing?
the downtime.
Oh, yeah, I had considered it, but I didn't. I don't know. I figured there would be enough back and forth and potential questions about stuff that I said that I figured we could just handle that in session.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I probably should have checked with the group on if you guys wanted to actually go through that stuff, or you just kind of wanted to get a little blurb about it and move on. Um,
I think it was fun to share. I will say I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of what Java was doing, since he had the extra time.
Yeah, I guess I could have fleshed that out more.
I mean, you as a player could not be held to fault as far as you and Ethan knew. Java and Brother Nick would be basically nailed to the workshop the entire week.
yeah, I mean, I didn't know. Yeah, I guess I could have done a better job of laying out more clearly the options that you guys could do, like 2 levels worth of mods and have some spare time throughout the week to do something else, or you could do 4 and have no spare time.
Hmm.
I guess I thought I remembered you guys having multiple different things you wanted worked on, so I didn't think there would be an issue getting to 4 easily.
We
Um,
certainly did talk about having other things. I know we did.
mhm. Yeah, and there are multiple people on the crew who I don't think have anything modded. Um, but that's that's something that can potentially be fleshed out later. I guess maybe it's a good reminder to just drop the hint for everybody. Be thinking about, I guess take a look in the book. Um, what is that? Around page 90 or so, I want to say. Yeah,
91.
90 exactly. 90, 91 there. There's a list of mods there. Um, anything that doesn't involve pretext salvage, that's fixed 2 or lower, you guys have the capability of installing on weapons or armor.
I mean, since Brother Nick and Java didn't really do anything else with their week, or did Brother Nick end up doing
So
something
Nick
else?
did, yeah. He ended
Okay,
up
okay, never mind.
using his spare time to make connections. But
So something for the rest of you to consider. Auto targeting is fixed too. It's just a +1 bonus to your to hit rolls, and it's only with Java's reduction, it's only 2,000 credits.
Auto targeting?
Some of you need it. It's a +1 to hit.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, you're specifically the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, of course I will.
Because Saoirse has her telekinetic, which can't exactly be modded. And I don't know if Java does fighting at all.
Cade doesn't exactly do fighting either.
Java does fighting stuff. He just hasn't had the need to explore that yet.
Did I just hear Danielle come back, or did I mistake that for somebody else?
She's
No,
still
she's
muted.
still muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, she is. But yeah, say Avery hasn't, or I mean Java hasn't done any fighting yet. I don't. He probably hasn't talked much about that yet. It can be left for another time to be revealed.
Yep.
Whether he's gonna be running with K to the back of the group, or if he's
No, I think I'll still be in the back of the group running by myself.
With your +3 bonus to hit, including the bonuses from burst and laser.
Yes.
Which amounts to a +3, by the way.
Yes. -1 from lack of skill.
-2 from lack of skill.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, your combat skills contribute double penalty, but not double bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna head to bed. It's
All right,
getting late.
let me pop off the stream here. I'll go ahead and close out. Anything you want to say at the end there, Ben?
Bye bye, everybody.